Today on Cryptoverse, we'll be decoding VC attractions. It's a challenge. It is quite challenging for crypto projects to source funds. It's not easy to get a loan from the bank when it comes to crypto projects. So they normally look into VC, raise funds through IEOs, private sale, etc. So today we are going to focus on VC and explore with our speakers what are VC looking out for. So meanwhile, while the stream is going on, we also want to share that we are going to be giving out some airdrops. If you can screenshot 3 different scenes in this live stream and submit to the Google form link provided, there will be 5 winners walking away with 10 USDT each. So we also have Terrell from, is it a project owner from Hong Kong?
Sunbits.io. Yep.
Yeah. Could you just introduce your project and yourself, please?
I am Toral, founder of Soundbits.io. I'm from Hong Kong, and the problem we are trying to solve is music NFT does not have a utility. So we are providing utility to music NFT by connecting music NFT to Web3 games. Our mission is to gamify music. We are a music GameFi utility project. And the way we connect music NFT to Web3 games is by using our free tool called SoundBridge Producer, which allows a user to create their own beat maps, which are basically game levels. So a user can create a beat map, a game level for our game, and then that can be minted as a beat map NFT, and the community can play it. And if a lot of the community plays it and you get some sort of reward, the artist who created the song, they get some sort of reward as well. And obviously the gamers who play, they will get some sort of reward. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have a second? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, with your have you faced any challenges trying to raise any funds for this project?
Yes, I think one of the biggest challenge for raising the funds is, I think I read somewhere, for a success of a startup, 40% of the factor was timing. So I think even though there's a lot of other, when for a good project, for a VC to invest in a good project, there's various things that we're gonna discuss later, like good team and things like that. But I think that is only 60%. The other 40% is the timing. So I think timing is a big thing. At the moment, it's bear market, and slowly it's recovering. So yeah, I think timing is from my side, timing is the biggest factor.
Okay. And have you ever been scammed through any of these was looking for funds, or it does
I
happen in
mean,
the industry?
I haven't really gotten scammed, but there are certain instances where it's there, but I kind of try to just focus on building the product, and just at the moment, in the bear market, I'm kind of just focusing on building, because I know that it's going to be difficult to raise funds. So from my side, what I can do is just build during the bear market, just build. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. We also have, is it Gleb from CryptoRank? If you could just introduce
Yes.
yourself.
Hey, everyone. So my name is Gleb. I'm a lead analyst at cryptorank.io. And CryptoRank is a leading analytics platform in the crypto space. On our website, we provide market data on all coins. We have the largest fundraising and token sales databases, and much more. We also provide a lot of data and analytics on crypto VC fundraising. So if you are looking for fundraising, or you're a VC who are looking for some projects, check out our website. There you can find a lot of insights.
And how does CryptoRank play a part in fundraising for these projects?
Yeah. Speaking of your question, many venture capitalists and projects that are looking for an investment use our website to gather data and insights. Our primary objective is to provide high quality data available for everyone, and projects can find competitors and see which funds invest in them. This is one of the most popular use cases for projects who are looking for an investment.
Okay, and with these VCs, what are they generally looking for when it comes to funding these projects? Is there something specific that they're looking for?
Yeah, I guess, in my opinion, the first thing we see look at is the product and the technology. Innovation remains one of the most important features that generate value in crypto projects. VC often follow universities and blockchain labs to find promising, innovative projects. And the second most important thing is a team, followed by partners and tokenomics of the project.
Okay, perfect. And also we have Anthony from Blockchain Association, Access Blockchain Association. Can you just introduce yourself and your project?
Hey, thanks, Jubir. So, I actually hold two portfolios. I'm the head of growth in CopyDAO, the decentralized autonomous organization, and also I sit in the Access Blockchain Association. But that's more on the community side. I think on CopyDAO, what we actually do is mainly two things. The first one is that we focus on educational. Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so we focus on education content. As a DAO, we look to spread knowledge and build our community of learners. And the second one that we do is ecosystem mapping. And I think we're very heavily focused in growing the startups, especially the early stage companies that work with us. And what I also do personally within the organization is to work with angel investors and a select group of VC, not so much PE firms, but we explore companies, blockchain projects that are rather novel in the space today. And we also see how we can actually look towards funding them or helping to grow their business proposition so that they can serve the community more.
Okay, perfect. And have you started investing in any projects before, or?
Yeah, definitely. We've done a couple of investments in a few projects. I would say that since 2020, when COVID hit, and then as we go on to 2021 and 2022, there's a huge influx of money that came around. And I think there's a lot of angel investors that wanted to share their wealth and see how they can contribute to the blockchain and Web3 space. So we have partnered with them to identify a few blockchain projects. Of course, some of them have not been so successful. Others have been relatively successful. We just closed the sale on one of them, so unfortunately, I cannot reveal the name, but it is operating in the refi space or the regenerative finance space.
And with your experience with the projects that fail, what are the lessons learned from when going in with those projects?
Yeah, I think at the very onset, we identified that there was a good business value proposition. There was a good case. There was a good case study that could be deployed to the community. I think maybe what went wrong in that instance was that the target market that the company was going for was a little bit different. I think if we look at the government regulations, so this was in Latin America. I think the Latin American market that the company was going for was not so receptive. And then the second point was that the infrastructure for blockchain was not ready to support. So they had a good community of engineers, developers, but unfortunately, I think when we look at certain things like data connectivity, even let's say basic utilities, it couldn't be set up properly. So the infrastructure cost a huge deal. It pumped up the cost too much for the project, and unfortunately, the firm had to exit.
Ah, okay. And then moving forward, what would they be looking for when it comes to investment?
I think very selfishly, every investor is looking to earn money. So I think that's the main thing that they're looking out for. But there definitely are ancillary reasons that they're looking at. I think compared to 2 years ago, I'm noticing that companies or investors want to have a stronger use case. They want to identify that the project is more meaningful to their own personal interest and aligned perhaps with their past experience. So there must be so there is a more personal touch compared to maybe 2 years ago or 1 year ago, when investors just look at projects with a high ROI.
Yeah. So moving on, we've got a question for all three of you, and that is, what do projects need to prepare for when it comes to the VC pitch? And so if we start off with Terrell and we move down. I think you're on mute, Terrell.
Sorry, so your question was, what does VC need to prepare for? What does the project need to prepare for a VC? So what are the VCs looking for in a project? I think that what VCs are looking for in a project is kind of the same question as what makes a good project. And I think Anthony as well mentioned earlier, having a good team, you're solving an actual problem. There need to be a market. There need to be a market for it, and your tokenomics, and yeah, I think pretty much the combination of these. And what are you innovating? Are you building something new, or you're just building another same product? What's the innovation? What tech stack are you using? I think it's a combination of all these three makes a good project, and that's what attracts VC, I think.
Okay, thank you for that. And Gleb, same question for you.
Yeah, I'd like to highlight a few points that may help to stand out among other projects. And first one is technology. It is probably the main factor that creates value for a startup. And VC look for the uniqueness of the product, its readiness and quality, as well as the size of the target audience, among other factors. The second one is team. It's more about experience and achievements of team members. Third is networking. It is especially important. It is great to have notable partners and investors in the previous rounds if you had one. And some other important factors include tokenomics, roadmap, and social media, of course. For many funds in crypto space, they require projects to release tokens, and I think more and more of them will follow paradigm strategy and ask projects to do airdrops, especially in the competitive way, like when the more you engage with the project, the more tokens you will get.
Okay, thank you. And same question for you, Anthony.
Yeah, I think Taral and Glad have answered most of the questions. So I'll just go on to talk about the use case. I think if we look at, I mean, I don't sit in the VC, so I can't speak to this as an investor. But I think having helped quite a number of companies secure investments in our organization, I think where we see is that the use case is very important. Any typical VC firm receives about 100 proposals easily a week. So it is quite a phenomenal task to sift through these proposals. And what we notice is that companies with a very strong use case, if they're very clear on perhaps two things, where they want to operate and how they want to operate, would really stand out to any investor potentially looking at putting some contribution into their project. So I would advise the audience that, for any founders who are attending this conference, to really look at your use case. You might have a very good product, you might have a very good business value proposition, but if you can't identify how and where to operate, then there may be not too much applicability to any investor.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, in the good old days, it was a lot easier to get, a few years, it was a lot easier to get a VC to invest in these projects. But since the whole recent hoo-ha about all of the regulatory and compliance issues in the crypto space kind of somehow stopped people from coming into the space, is that something that you guys would agree with, or?
Sorry, could you please repeat the question again? I couldn't
Yeah,
hear
I was
properly.
just saying,
Thank you.
yeah, with a few years ago, it was a lot easier to get a VC to invest into blockchain projects. But since the whole regulatory and compliance issues in the crypto space, it's kind of stopped people from coming into the space. Is that something that you would agree with, or has it made it more difficult? What would you say?
I think I would agree with that. And like I said in the first point, 40% of the success of a startup or a company depends on timing. So that's almost like half of 40% is almost close to 50%. So almost like half of the factor is the timing. And a few years ago, when it was bull run, it was a lot more easier than now. And then, like Anthony mentioned, VCs get maybe 100 or more projects pitched every week, even during the bear market. So they have to be very, very picky. And as a project, it's just having all the factors that we mentioned earlier, the solving the problem, having a good team, things like that. I think maybe we need much more better unique proposition than just that, just to stand out of all the project.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
And from my perspective, the crypto VC landscape slowly changes. The United States remain a home for most successful crypto startups, but due to the regulatory problems, more and more of them decide to register their business in other regions. Amid this, Asia is going to become the homeland for thousands of new startups. And most importantly, many Asian countries are open for crypto adoption and do not afraid that crypto can interfere local monetary policy.
Perfect. What about yourself, Anthony?
Yeah, thanks, Shubir. So I deal mostly with the Malaysia and Singapore market. I think most will be familiar that the Singapore market is a little bit more stringent when it comes to crypto blockchain related investments. But if we look at the Malaysian market, for example, I think the Malaysian market is still quite new when it comes to crypto investments or blockchain related investments. So, and the special thing about Malaysia is that digital assets are not considered legal tender. But the unique thing is that digital assets are a form of securities. So Malaysia is still in the midst of crafting a coherent legal framework, and also deciding which service providers to run these assets. So I think over the past few months, there have been quite a number of companies that have successfully run their ICOs, but there's also very strong scrutiny by the security exchanges. And I think that while the policies or the legislations have not been firmed up yet, it is still important to understand that from a compliance point of view, the security associations are still looking at these funding or these companies from a very eagle eye approach, and also looking to see if any of these companies would use the funds in a misguided manner. Not to say that any company would, but I think that because it is so nascent, because digital assets are tokenized in such a into securities, that is where, from a compliance view, the Malaysian market takes a more stringent approach. So yeah, that's my point of view.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. And how do you guys think the community will affect a VC decision? And do they look into your marketing plans? How would one plan strategically?
I think in terms of community, how important is community for attracting the VC? I think like I mentioned earlier in the first question, what is a good community? It also goes into what kind of community, what's the role of a community in making a good product is what attracts a good VC. So from my point of view, community is, I think for a Web3 project, community is the most important thing, primarily because from, let's say for SoundBit's example, we launched our PC game, and then our community said that, okay, we need a mobile version. We got an instant feedback obviously in the beginning there's few people knowing, but slowly we hear that a lot of our other community members, they were saying like, we need a mobile room, so we are getting this feedback loop. And perhaps when we launch our Android app, they might be like, I don't like this feature, or I like this feature. So there is a whole feedback loop starting from the very beginning, which I think like, a lot of the Web2 companies might not have it. So having that, the feedback loop is, I think, is very important. Other thing is the community can consist of your early adopters. It could be influencers, or it could be like professionals like you guys who are joining different. So having them, with fostering partnership, it's a social proof as well. It's social proof. We see that VCC, that there is a market for it. There's some sort of adoption potential for adoption. So I think all of these combined makes a good community, makes a good product, and if it makes a good product, then attracts the VC as well, I think. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. What about yourself, Glenn?
Yeah, I think social media is very important for crypto projects today. And we see like when project has strong community because they're early adopters of the product. Also, it is important how project works with feedback from community. From my perspective of view, it shows whether they are deeply interested in customer satisfaction. And speaking of marketing strategy, uh, as far as I know, projects often expect VC to bring their marketing experience and enhance their strategy.
Okay, perfect. What about yourself, Anthony? Would you?
Yeah, I think I would say that community building or the community is I would say the most important factor that any company or any startup should look at when seeking to grow. And from 2 points, right? The first point is education or information. Despite the advances in technology and information sharing that we see today, I think it is very unfortunate that information is so widespread that there is no longer one source of truth. We are also seeing that information is changing at a very rapid pace. For example, like what we know, like 3 months ago about a layer two protocol might change 3 months later, and I think that kind of affects how important the community is. So what we see or what we do in Kopidao is we maintain a very strong education network, and most of our members they will come in to select and create their own groups to find out how they can actually grow their own specific knowledge a bit better, and also build a more P2P learning or peer-to-peer learning from a decentralized point of view. And we see that from an information sharing point of view, it also helps to create, let's say, their own social groups so that they can share their own knowledge and also grow their expertise together. And then if we look at it, if we look at how important a community is from a development point of view, I think Taral has also mentioned that that seems to be the most quintessential thing when it comes to tech development. For example, if we were to develop like a layer 2 or layer 3 blockchain, we need to see what is the number of users or the adoption rate. And of course, the more users you have building on the chain, the more profitable or the faster the microtransactions might occur on the chain. And how else do you get another developer on board the chain? For example, I might be building on a layer 2 today, but if I know how to build on a layer 3, I might be convinced to switch to the layer 3. And that's one developer added to the chain, and also reducing your gas fees and then making your project more profitable, whatever the project may be. And these things are definitely picked up by any investor, because I think any investor that looks at funding a blockchain project will definitely want to see how many developers are building on the chain and what are the number of transactions that are occurring at any point of time. And all this roll back into the community.
Oh, perfect. And lastly, a conclusion from all three of you guys. What does the future look like for VC investment in the blockchain industry?
I think maybe you guys should go first, more on the VC side. I hope
On my
maybe. Sorry, go on.
Okay. In my opinion, 2024 and 2025 may be the greatest years for crypto fundraising so far, much better than 2020 and 2021. And because following institutional adoption of Bitcoin in the United States, there might be changes in regulation that will make it easier and safer to invest in crypto. Also, due to the anticipated bull run, it will be easier to raise more money for crypto projects at higher valuation, basically that we have seen in 2021.
Yeah, I think my opinion differs from that of Glad. I think over here in Asia compared to where Glad is, it's not so rosy in the investment space. I think money is getting a lot more expensive. Where money used to be loaned at 1 or 2% rates, we're now seeing like 4 to 5% borrowing rates. So that definitely affects the kind of ROIs, the base ROIs that any investor will be looking for. And of course, I think the investors are tightening their purse strings when it comes to deploying funds. But that being said, I think that does not mean that investments will not be deployed. Again, I'm saying this from my own point of view. I'm not an investor, so that is the caveat that I would mention. I would say that the quality of projects that investors are looking at are now a lot more, a lot higher. Whereas previously companies would need to show what kind of top line growth they're demonstrating, and how much that can scale. For example, in year one, I can build my revenue or my transaction fees to about 3x, and then year two I'll build it to like 6x. And I think that's what investors used to look at. But right now, investors are starting to analyze the P&L or the bottom line a lot more closely to see how fast can a project be profitable. So that's one point. And I think the second point is that investors are not willing or less willing, for example, to deploy so much money. For example, the angel investors that we speak with a few years ago, they would easily deploy like 300 to 400,000 US dollars, but now they would rather spread this amount into three projects. For example, they might say, find me three quality projects, and I will deploy like 100K each, compared to dumping 300K into one project. So I would say that for any firm out there that has a very strong use case, a very strong community, and a very strong business value proposition, you don't have to worry. But you just need to ensure that your runway is set for a longer period of time, because the inflow of funds might be much less than what you have previously predicted.
Okay, perfect.
I think
Just
Anthony.
go.
Sorry. I think Anthony described it very well. From a founder point of view, I would like to agree with Gleb. Like from a founder point of view, we need VCs, we more more funding. So I hope in the next 2 years it's gonna come. One thing is that with all the inflation and regulations and everything in the Western world, the the good thing is like the majority of the blockchain activity is actually happening in Asia. So from a founder point of view, I'm hoping that we just grow this community, build a product, have some sort of unique proposition, and then like how Anthony mentioned, if we could hit those targets, then hopefully if everything is good, then like Gleb said, we could it would be nice to raise when the time comes. But just get ready until then. Thank you.
Yeah, I think a lot of the VCs at the moment, they're looking for good quality projects at the moment, especially with all the meme tokens that have gone past as well. So just a reminder to all our audience, airdrops are still there to be won. Screenshot 3 different scenes in the live stream and submit to the Google form provided in the link. So there will be 5 winners walking away with 10 USDT each. So in conclusion, guys, reach out to Zorex if you are looking to fundraise. Our specialists would love to talk to you. Not forgetting, scan the sign up Zorex now to receive your sign up bonus. We had also launched a new feature, Learn and Earn. Watch a video, learn crypto, earn your airdrops. I mean, thank you for all the speakers as well for coming on and sharing all your views. We really appreciate it. And see you guys on the next live stream.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.